Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
A Quiet Place Part 2 is the brand new movie releasing exclusively in theaters. The film stars Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, Noah Jupe, Millicent Simmons, Jaimin Hunso, and John Krasinski. The film takes place right after the events of the first film. The Abbott family are running away from their home, still figuring out the whole situation. They run into Cillian Murphy's character, and that's really kind of the plot does start to kick in. The film is an hour 37 and PG-13. My name is Max Zimmer. We'll get to a brand new review here on Max Talks Movies. Today we're talking one of my highly anticipated films of the entire year, A Quiet Place Part 2. Before I get my non-spoiler thoughts of this film, please leave a like button. That's the best way to support this channel. Also, please comment down below your thoughts. If you have seen A Quiet Place Part 2, is it better than the first one? Did you like the film? Did you even like the first movie? And also, if you have not seen the movie yet, tell me, will you check this one out this weekend in theaters? You can only see this in theaters. Also, please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. I do movie reviews on this channel, TV show reviews, movie streaming platforms. I also do some movie rankings, and I do a box office breakdown show every Monday. So please tune in, ring the bell, subscribe, and let's talk about The Quiet Place Part 2. So as I said, it's one of my highly anticipated films of the entire year. The first one was my favorite film of 2018. I really adore the first movie from an acting perspective, a direction perspective. The idea of a horror movie taking place in this universe that kind of felt lived in, even though we haven't really gotten any surrounding visuals or dialogue. I loved the first movie, and I'm happy to say this might be better in my opinion. I think this is a better movie than the first one. And a lot of people are saying, wow, Max, that's a high praise. It is. This is a fantastic horror thriller movie. I think the biggest difference between this one and the first one is that for me, the first one was a lot more thrilling than it was horror. I didn't really get scared at all in the first one, but I was so thrilled. It was on the edge of my seat. Intense was there. But this one was a mixture of both being intense, on the edge of my seat, thrilling, and there were some pretty scary jump scare type moments. And I thought this was a scarier film than the first one. Also because, and this is not, now I am going to talk about spoilers of the first movies. Before, if you have not seen the first movie, as I just said, it's my favorite movie of that year. Check it out. I'm going to talk about spoilers about the first one, non-spoilers though, about this new one. So obviously they are going back because obviously they're moving on because John Krasinski's character is killed, sacrificing himself at the end of the first movie, which sets up these three going off on an adventure, not an adventure, but just going through, have to move on. The house is all blown up. And that's really run to Cillian Murphy's character, who has a tie-in to Krasinski that is explored in the earlier parts of the film. So this film, not again, it's shown in the trailer. We kind of get the background on this a lot. We get a day one. I know we started like day 80 or 90 in the first movie. This one, we start day one. And this is one of my new favorite opening sequences of all time in movies. The first 10 to 15, however long it goes, feels like 15 minutes, or fantastic. Once we get to the credits, like the opening sequence of this entire film is amazing. One of the best opening to a horror movie I can ever remember seeing. I think it tops the opening scene of the first one. It's a unique opening to the film, completely different opening to the first film. And also, just like the first film, it is very well acted across the board. Emily Blunt, who was my favorite part of the first movie, she once again kind of steps into, I guess you would say, the lead role in this movie. She really is. It's really a balance of everyone, but she's first on the credits. She's really fantastic in the movie. Difference between this one that in the first one is that she's not pregnant, obviously, in this movie, but she has some difficult tasks because obviously her husband, the father of the family, is gone. So she has a lot more things to do. She's now a single parent, so now she's got a lot of other things to do. And she's a badass mom, by the way. I kept saying that she's just a badass throughout the entire film. Both kids, once again, are great. Noah Jupe is good, but taking a huge step up from the first movie is Millicent Simmons, who is the daughter. She is one of probably the main possible character of the entire movie. And her story is so touching. And both kids are very relatable. You can see yourselves putting yourself into their shoes, but Millicent Simmons is excellent. And we get to the new cast members. Cillian Murphy is excellent in this movie. He plays the guy, as I said, ties in. He has a pretty important dynamic with Millicent Simmons, which basically is possibly, in some people's eyes, the main storyline. There's kind of three things going on at the same time, and they all are so well edited and so well structured together. They each kind of feel like their own main story happening at the same time. Don't want to spoil what's going on in each of those situations or who they are, but the Cillian Murphy, Millicent Simmons, their main storyline together, their dynamic is what I want to say. Their dynamic was really unique, completely different from the dynamic between Simmons and Krasinski's character in the first one. But this one, Simmons and Murphy have a really unique dynamic that is very emotional. You care about, again, you really do care about all of the characters in the entire film. Death happens, but again, just like the first one, it's not about how cool the monsters are or how many people they're killing. It's more about the monsters, and this whole thing is happening, but what's happened with our main characters. I think that's what the good balance and a great director really does. And also, what's difference between this one and the first one is that Krasinski shared writing credit. He wasn't the complete writer of the first one. He is totally the only writer credited for this movie, director, writer, producer, all that. He's also in the movie for a little bit. And again, that's day one, not a spoiler. He's in a lot of the promotional material. He's also very good in the very small screen time that he gets in the film. But again, the film is so intense, so thrilling. You care about all of the characters. As I said, it's a little bit more horrifying, and it makes you think a lot more about the first one. Again, this one is way more expansive. In the first one, we're mainly just in this house, and the environment really is surrounding the house. We go out and we explore a lot more in this movie outside of just a single house. I think that shows a step up in directing. Now, yes, the first film, I think, had like a $17 million budget. This one has a $61 million budget, but you never really feel that they had a larger budget in this one. Obviously, it's more expansive, more stuff's happening, but the film still feels simple, and that's what makes the film great. And I was kind of worried about the head hands because they got a much bigger budget for this movie, and that normally means more CGI, more crazy stuff. But what Krasinski did is nail the simplicity of the first film. It's very simple again. In this one, even though there's a lot more going on. So guys, again, I really do love this movie. I do actually believe that the second one is better than the first one, which is pretty tough to do in any franchise, especially horror. And I'm so happy to hear that it's doing well currently at the box office. At least when I'm recording this, the Thursday night review box office was really good for the film. I am rooting for this movie. And also, the biggest thing about this movie is that it needs to be seen in a theater. If you've seen the first film, you know this to be true. It's one of the best theatrical experiences I've ever had in a theater. I was in an IMAX theater. There's a lot of people in there, not too packed, but packed enough during these times. And no one was eating popcorn. No one was drinking. Everyone was locked in, also not trying to make any noise throughout the film. And that's what makes this film experience amazing. The sound is special in this movie. Should be winning anything revolving sound at the Oscars or any of those big award shows. The score, Marco Beltrami is back from the first film. It's even a better score than the first one, which was nominated at the Oscars. This is a really good score. There's obviously more of it in this movie, but it's a really good score. Overall, there's really not much to complain about. My main issue, it's not a main issue. My only critique I have with the movie is that at times characters do have to make, at times, a little bit too dumb of decisions to get the plot going even more intense. That really comes down to Noah Jupe's character. At times he makes one or two dumb decisions that we have to do just to make it more intense. It didn't put me out of the moment. I'm just saying it is a little critique that I had with the movie. But overall, guys, this is my favorite movie. This is better than the first one, which was my favorite movie of 2018, in my opinion, so far this year. This is gonna be tough to beat as my favorite movie of the year so far. So I'm gonna give A Quiet Place Part 2 a 4.5 out of 5. I'm going to give this guys a 96%. I really loved this movie. I hope everyone sees it. I adore these two movies. If we get a third one, who knows? But please, guys, like the video, subscribe, share, do all of those things. And thank you for watching my review of A Quiet Place Part 2.